I remember waking up the morning of the 21st knowing that the headache was not gonna let up on its own. I had a few more interviews about the viral video and about the petition that morning, and I made an agreement with myself that I was going to finish the interview that morning and go right to urgent care. As soon as I got off of that call, I thought I was gonna faint. I remember standing in the entranceway to my house. I don't even know if I said anything to my partner. I just knew I needed to go. I started to feel my blood pressure elevating really quickly, and I started to sweat profusely and shake, and I was trying not to vomit, and my vision was just going black, and I'm like, this is so bad. Like, I have to go now. And it was the pain. I had experienced this before with these cluster headaches. It was the pain was so intense that I knew well enough from experience to know that these were some early indications that I was going to go into shock. I don't know why I drove myself. I don't know why I didn't ask my partner to bring me. I think I was just having tunnel vision. I don't even remember how I got there. But I walked in and I was hysterical. Like, the pain, it just feels like somebody's literally taking like a hot cattle prod and like pushing it through your eye into your brain. It's one of those pains that's so bad that my brain won't let me remember what it feels like when I'm not in it. But I did know that a non-narcotic migraine cocktail and oxygen therapy would dull it enough to keep me out of shock. And that's exactly what I told them. Between heaving and tears, they took me right in. They took me right in, and they didn't even make me wait in the waiting room. I got in, they got me on oxygen. They started this non-narcotic migraine cocktail, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm really relieved that my attending and my nurse are both women, because I had just had such a negative experience with, you know, a male doctor discounting my pain. I was in such a rush when I got there that I didn't have any of my stuff to be able to sign the paperwork, like the HIPAA forms or the releases or anything like that. But I had been there a million times. I mean, this place is like a mile from my house. So I called my partner and I was like, hey, can you bring me my insurance card, please? And they started treatment prior to getting any sort of authorization because again, I had been there so many times. He came, he dropped that off to me, and then I was just kind of waiting for the treatment, and it was an IV treatment. So, you know, it was taking a while. I think because I let the headache go on for so long, nothing was touching it. I mean, I went through one IV and, you know, I think I told them I was at an 8, but it was still pretty bad. It was probably more like a 9 or a 10 still. I was at least able to breathe through the pain and stop crying. So it had dulled it a little bit, but I needed more medication, right? It just wasn't going to touch it. You know, as the pain is starting to dull, I don't know. I just made a video, and it was clearly a joke. Clearly a joke to me. I had front row tickets to see Lil Nas X the next day, and I had been looking forward to this for so long, and I was not going to miss that concert. Under any circumstance, I was not going to miss the concert, but I realistically knew I would not be able to function with my head pain the way it was. I made a joke while I was in my hospital bed, a video saying that I will sue the neurologist who didn't give me treatment. I was considering being nice and not suing the doctor, but I'm back in the hospital and in excruciating pain for pain and suffering. And if I miss the Lil Nas X show because of that doctor, because the show's tomorrow, that show is the only thing I've been looking for. Lil Nas X is literally my favorite. I'm like obsessed with Lil Nas X, and like I've spent all my money on that concert. If that ain't pain and suffering. But no, for real, I hope you feel better. I really want to go. Because if missing the Lil Nas X concert isn't pain and suffering, I don't know what is. That's it. That's it. Like, you couldn't see anyone in the video. It was a private room. No one around me. I mean, I had also made videos at this place and posted them like a dozen times in the past. There's not a no cell phone policy. There's not a no recording policy. This is their new policy, right? New being the key word. A letter of warning may be issued to the hospital's disruptive patient policy. And it authorizes the hospital to take your cell phone away. Now let me show you what it said prior to this whole thing going down. It just said you can't use your cell phone near like certain equipment because it can screw up the equipment. Thanks to one of my internet sleuths, so you can actually see when this information was added, and it was actually added on September 21st, 2022, which was the day I got thrown out of multi-med emergent care. So as of the date that I was seen at those two hospitals, this was their thing, patients and visitors, you know, see nothing there, right? But now it says this, and I just love that like these people who run these hospitals clearly don't know about like internet archives where it's like very easy to prove that something did not exist at the time. I had gotten an email that morning from one of the news outlets saying that, you know, they had to contact the correct department for comment because you can't just like say something happened to you with the news, right? If they're going to actually do an investigative report, they have to fact check.
So if we in the media say anything that's not true,
right,
then we open ourselves to liability.
To fill out, it's just an e-sign.
Yeah.
The HIPAA release, and I'd love to set you up for a Zoom interview.
I know they said they were reaching out to the hospital that morning for comments. And I think it was just like the absolute perfect time for the perfect storm. The nurse practitioner who was taking care of me came back into the room, asked if I was doing any better, and I said I was still really, really high on the pain scale. So she was like, no problem, we'll order another IV for you. And that was it. As I was waiting, I was scrolling on Instagram, and she came back in moments later, but she didn't have the medication with her. She was like, you can't be doing that in here. And I was like, doing what? And she was like, you can't live stream in here. And I didn't know what she was talking about, right? So I just like, you know, I thought maybe she thought I was live streaming because I was on my phone. I don't really know. I was very confused, right? So I just like flipped my phone around to show her I was on Instagram. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm just on Instagram. She's like, well, we just got a call from Glens Falls Hospital saying that you were live streaming. And you're not allowed to do that. Your nurse will be in soon. And I was like, okay. I mean, what the lady said is that someone from Glens Falls Hospital, where the neurologist works, called around to different hospitals looking for me. I mean, obviously this has to do with the neurologist. Like, why else? So I don't know if the nurse was just like saying that because she doesn't want to get in trouble, or if like she was really ordered to do so. But like, as soon as I get the audit trail from my attorney, we'll know, because there should be a note in there if it really was a phone call. You know what else I want to see is, because on my discharge paperwork, they wrote that I requested to be discharged. Why would I request to be discharged if I'm like still on the pain scale? Even like my discharge paperwork says my blood pressure is like really high for me. I usually run low. So obviously I was still in pain. So if their audit trail shows anything different, like, oh, you know, we removed her from the premises or something, like, not that I was asked to leave, like, not that I asked to leave, like, that's going to be pretty damning. So when the nurse came in, I was still expecting her to give me my IV, right? And she starts unhooking the machine, and I'm like, what is going on? She's like, you're being discharged. And I was like, for what? And she was like, I don't really know. And I was like, okay, well, the nurse practitioner who's like my attending in this situation just told me that Glens Falls Hospital called you guys saying I was live streaming. I wasn't live streaming. She's like, I don't know much about it. I'll send her in. So I began recording on my phone because I was like, something's not right. Something is weird.
Hey. Hi. So this chief nursing officer at Glens Falls Hospital called the chief nursing officer of Saratoga Hospital, who called our emergency department director, who called our charge nurse to say that you were live streaming from the room.
I wasn't. I swear on my life, I was not. The nurse practitioner came back in and told me that Glens Falls Hospital, where the neurologist worked, I guess saw that I made a TikTok video. I don't know if they were already on my TikTok to see what all the hubbub was about, because they had gotten a call for comment from the media. I'm not really sure. They massively violated HIPAA by calling hospital to hospital to hospital to find me. The urgent care here is minutes away from my house. Where the neurologist works is here. It's about 45 minutes from my house. Saratoga Hospital is kind of in the middle, in between the two. I was honestly floored. I was still in a lot of pain. And I was scared, right? There were people in the room that I didn't know. There was the nurse who was taking care of me, the nurse practitioner, a few other doctors, I think, that I didn't know. And they had armed security guards with weapons. And I was like, I don't even know what I did wrong, but I'm probably gonna go to prison or get killed. I mean, even so, I don't even know how they would know I was here.
Well, do you post stuff under your own name?
Yeah, but I didn't post anything. I didn't live stream, and I don't talk about my
Well,
location.
not live. Did you record something and put it up?
No, and I don't disclose
sure
my
about
location,
that?
and I don't disclose my location,
Okay,
especially.
you-
So I don't know why that would even.
So we searched your name and it came up that you
Yeah, you're in
posted
here.
from here.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show that it's from here, though.
I don't know how they.
Obviously, they know, and they knew it was room 9. I mean,
There's no way they could know that.
Okay,
There's absolutely
well, then they
no
looked your
way.
name up and looked on the tracker, but I
Is this
don't-
is Glens Falls Hospital part of Saratoga? So
It
they
is.
looked up my name.
So it's
Well, when you live stream, I mean,
I
there are
didn't live
people-
stream. I did not live
Did you
stream.
post a picture of yourself in this room?
Yeah, but why
Okay,
would that
so-
matter?
Well, you're lying, so I don't really believe much of what you're saying. Anyway.
I didn't live stream.
Whether you live stream or not, you just told me you didn't post anything since last night. You posted a picture today of you talking about wanting to go to something tomorrow, and you're back in the hospital again, and it's you on the oxygen, which is 100% illegal. You can't be.
That's not. It's a
posting
one-party consent state. I can absolutely do whatever I want.
Okay, you want to take it up with the chief nursing officer of the
Yeah.
hospital? Okay.
Ideally, yes. I'll call my attorney right now, and I would
Okay.
like that. And this whole time, I'm so confused because the last time I had live streamed was on the 19th. So I was really just trying to plead my case, like, hey, I wasn't live streaming. Like, this is all a misunderstanding because I didn't want to be discharged. I was still in pain. I needed help. And she wouldn't hear it.
Okay, all right, because I mean, they have the evidence and,
Evidence of what? Me posting a video?
yeah, that you said you didn't post. So somebody came in here and posted a video of you.
What I don't understand is why would it matter? No, I didn't post a video of me saying I'm at
They
this
knew
place.
you were here.
How would they know I
called
was
us.
here,
We
though?
got a phone call. So, I don't know. People can know.
No, I mean, no, that's very strange. I would
It
never,
is
why would
strange.
I
don't
disclose
know.
my
I don't know.
location?
Why would you lie to us, though? Why would you do it?
I didn't lie. I said I didn't live stream.
You said you didn't post anything of yourself in this room.
I didn't post that I was in this room.
Okay, all right, whatever.
Well, no, I misunderstood the question.
Okay.
And there's all this confusion, right? She's like asking me if I live streamed, which I didn't. So then she's asking me all these other rapid fire questions. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. And then, she's trying to like catch me in this gotcha moment, I felt. Like all of these questions in so much pain. I'm terrified. Like I couldn't believe what was happening. And they really just made me leave. They really just made me leave.
I'll let you take it up with the hospital security and the chief nursing officer, but we all just were notified that Glens Falls Hospital is notifying our hospital about it.
I mean, even so, why would that even so, devil's advocate, which I didn't live stream, I certainly wouldn't put myself at risk by saying where my
I don't know what you
location is.
did, and I don't believe what you say, so I don't know where this is going. I mean,
Okay,
bottom
well, I
line
will
is,
also have my...
You can't live stream when you're a patient in a facility like.
You absolutely can.
No, you can't.
Really?
Yeah. You can't.
Okay, well,
So.
that's absolutely not true.
Okay. Well, you
So-
can't live stream in any of the Albany Med facilities then. which
Is that
Glens Falls,
is that
Saratoga.
policy?
You can take it up with our legal system and our.
Well, you're saying you know for a fact.
We were just.
we just
told.
got a call.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I will take it up with them.
Okay.
Is that something I call them for, or?
You can give her Lisa West's number.
What is it? Yeah. All right. We'll get your number.
Absolute ridiculous. And of course, at this point, I had really nothing to lose. Of course, I put it all on TikTok immediately. Just when we thought it couldn't get crazier, first of all, hello, Glens Falls Hospital. I know you're watching because the doctors from the hospital I just was at came in and told me that you called them and said that I was live streaming, which is an absolute lie. I could not believe what had just happened to me. So let me just, just a recap here. This is my understanding. I never said where I was. I said I was in a hospital, but I never said which one. I don't have my location settings on, so it doesn't automatically say where I'm at. To my knowledge, I didn't see anything on my TikTok about it. I did not live stream. I did not say where I was. I didn't even mention the hospital in question in the video I posted about the Lil Nas X concert. So, I really couldn't understand why they would do that to me. People shouldn't have this level of power over your life. Like, I see why people fucking kill themselves. I really do. I'm disabled. Like, I'm chronically ill. Like, I just need help. This isn't like, it really made me feel like I was starting to see how healthcare under capitalism is just a business, right? Like, they can technically throw you out of a Starbucks if they don't like you. I didn't know they could do that with hospitals. I really didn't. It was so upsetting and so disheartening and so stressful that I just didn't want to think about any of it. I wasn't going to let anyone take anything else away from me. So I went to Philadelphia and went to the Lil Nas X concert, and I'm really glad I went. I remember the next day on the way back, I just like wasn't feeling right. I remember being really sore, like body aches and, my neck. I was just like not feeling right. And I was like, oh, it's probably the cluster headache trying to make a comeback. And, the concert, I was on my feet and there's a lot of stress going on. By the time we got back from like the 5-hour drive, I had a massive fever and I just was not right. Not at all.
You ever have those times where you're like, oh, things can't possibly get any worse? Well, they could possibly get any worse. So,
and of course, when it rains, it pours. I'm immunocompromised. I'm on a treatment that they give to people getting an organ transplant to shut down their immune system. Like, it hit me hard and it hit me fast, and I was honestly terrified.
this COVID shit's gonna hold me bad. Like, literally have not felt this sick in a very long time, so I might not be posting a lot. This is scary.
My blood oxygen was dropping. My lips were kind of like turning blue. All these hospitals in my area had some kind of affiliation with this hospital, Albany Med, because they just bought out all the smaller hospitals. So they now own Glens Falls. They now own Saratoga Hospital, right? And it dawned on me, like, I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to go because I just got thrown out of an urgent care. The people who care about me were furious. I mean, everyone was furious. This was like so illegal, so unprofessional. And my partner left a Google review of the facility saying what happened. By this point, I am probably the second sickest I've ever been in my life. And my partner goes, "You're not going to believe who just sent me a Facebook message."
Okay, this is so crazy. So that nurse that threw me out of the emergency room, she is literally DMing my boyfriend as we speak on Facebook.
My partner also had COVID. We were both sick. We were borderline delirious with fever. And he's a compassionate person. And she tried to manipulate him and it worked. It worked.
The messages just like say like, oh, do you realize what you and your girlfriend have done to me as a person? And saying she was like humiliated and she's like depressed and stuff. Which like, why reach out to him? Like, that's so weird. She keeps talking about her daughters like being scared for their life, and I just really don't know how anyone could have gotten her number. Like, I really just don't feel like anyone did that. She really like violates my private health information, saying like the date of service, that she was my nurse practitioner, that I received treatment there. Like, you can't do that. Like, Dave is not an authorized individual. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not on my HIPAA forms or anything. He's not even an emergency contact. She's like, I don't know how or if I can move forward, which, like, I don't know, kind of sound like veiled threat to herself or something. I like that she was like, she also said that she doesn't know how to use Facebook, but she's like messaging him on Facebook. Anyway, she ends it with, I hope that she gets all the likes, on social media, likes she needs to feel better.
We didn't know yet that her children were both grown and lived on the other side of the country. He fell for the lies she was saying, and so did I.
I really can't handle much more of this, but I will say this.
One of my loved ones got a message from one of the doctors I recorded on their personal social media. I don't know how the doctor knows who my loved ones are. I don't know how they got their personal social medias. Now, I don't know if anything said in the message is true regarding what my followers have been doing, but as I've said from day one, please do not ever go after anyone personally. Don't go after a doctor personally. Don't contact them. That's not your place. Don't do that stuff. And I've said that from day one. So if anyone for some reason missed the memo and you're doing that, stop doing it. If you're thinking of doing it, don't think of doing it. Don't do it at all. Don't. No. Because I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just wanted to, I don't know, like, let people know that this is the kind of care these doctors were providing. And I felt really guilty, and now I feel even worse because this person's saying, like, I ruined their life, and I feel like really terrible about that. I've just covered up any, like, pertinent information about whatever to protect their privacy as much as possible, while still trying to get my story out there, because this happens to people all the time, and, like, this really sucks, and I feel really guilty, but I also feel really scared because I don't know how this doctor is, like, getting the personal information of those who are closest to me.
Like, I truly felt these ways, and I was being manipulated, and it's like, I'm exhausted. Like, I've got, like, circles under my eyes because I have not slept. I haven't been able to sleep since I've been working on this because I'm just, like, I feel so bad for me 6 months ago. I had nothing to feel guilty about. What she was trying to do was get people to turn against me, and I know that sounds paranoid, but it's what it is. And it worked. And we almost broke up.
No!
Stop!
Why?
Stop!
Why?
Being fucking childish. Stop!
I'm not being childish.
Yes, you are.
How am I being childish?
By doing that.
I was traumatized. She wasn't sick. She wasn't thrown out of the emergency room. She wasn't sick with COVID, you know, staring death in the face because she's immunocompromised with nowhere to go. She didn't have armed guards with weapons. You know, she wasn't threatened when she was in excruciating pain. Like, I was just like, how can you even feel sorry for her? How can you even feel sorry for her after what she's done to me? A few days later, she sent him another Facebook message saying that she sought him out on social media because he left a Google review about what happened. And the thing too, right, is, like, he's not an authorized individual, and there are rules and laws like this for a reason, because what if he wasn't my boyfriend? What if he was a stalker? Or what if he is my boyfriend, but, you know, things are bad at home and I lied to him about being in the hospital and, you know, it caused an issue? Like, you know, none of those things were true, but as far as she knows, they could be, right? And, you know, I was just, like, so disillusioned by the whole thing. I just really, truly felt like I was kind of living in, like, a weird nightmare. And I couldn't handle it. I've never had a meltdown like that in my life. Just, like, screaming and crying and hitting myself and just, like, begging God to make it end. Like, I felt like I had made it so far with my health, and, you know, things were finally looking up for me, and then everything just came crashing down all at once, and it seemed like it was for absolutely no reason. And as I'm not feeling well, you know, I'm trying to report this nurse practitioner and report all the appropriate people. The administrator of Glens Falls Hospital, and the administrator and chief nursing officer of Saratoga Hospital, and then everyone who was involved in getting me thrown out.
You know, all the while, this story is just getting bigger and bigger, and I'm getting interviewed more and more places. And, you know, the bigger it's getting, the less I'm getting answers.
The provider does acknowledge that there were opportunities for more sensitive and empathetic conversation, and has committed to improving communications to ensure that patients feel their concerns are heard. This completes our formal investigation.
The more I'm starting to realize I don't think there's any justice in this world, and
what a nightmare, right, to truly feel like maybe you're the reason that all these terrible things are happening to you, and you don't even know why. You don't even know what you've done to deserve it, but it must be something. because there's no way that the world is that cruel and that chaotic, and that there's just no recourse, no semblance of justice, just people preying on those less fortunate and going off on a power trip when they're in a position of power or authority. You know, eventually the fever passed with the help of some emergency antiviral treatments. You know, my partner's fever broke, and you know, there were some moments of clarity, right? And just the quiet of sleep while we were sick. And you know, you'd realize that what this woman did was absolutely horrendous, especially the message, especially like, I hope she gets enough likes to feel better, like as if this whole thing was just to get clout on social media, which is the absolute worst thing you can think of for somebody who's chronically ill or disabled, right? Like, nothing would make it worth it. Millions of billions of dollars wouldn't make it worth it, because there's nothing you can enjoy if you're sick. There's nothing you can enjoy if you're in pain. You can be the richest, most famous person, most privileged person in the whole world, and if you are sick, none of it matters. Nothing matters if you don't have your health. And he very eloquently gave her a piece of his mind and gave her the opportunity to apologize. And honestly, had she apologized, I would not have taken the actions I did moving forward, but she had her chance to say sorry. I didn't even realize that I was about to be faced with the veil being completely lifted.
They hung up on me this time, for real.
On everything I thought I knew. My attorney said that they got 2 boxes now, one from Saratoga Hospital and the other is from Glens Falls.
Some random person who was not my nurse forged a signature.
Humana's grievance and appeals.
Forged her name.
And I spoke with the IT department. They hung up on me.
They discontinued the IV and had to leave. Oh, okay.
Invited me to be the featured speaker, right? And as soon as I mentioned the hospital's name, they caught my mic. And they cut me out of the newspaper article. Hi, Lisa West. This is Tara Rule again. I am calling because the issue I have been calling you about has not been resolved and is actually escalating.
Oh my God.
I got a phone call from your facility this morning because I reported a fraudulent document to my insurance company, and somebody from your hospital called and asked, quote, what the hell did I tell my insurance company? Someone named Brittany is literally threatening me on my social media, and I guess she works for your billing department? This is like my 4th phone call and email to you. You are the only one listed on the audit trail. Please call me back.
It's easy to make someone look crazy.
Ew, like literally, I've tried everything.
It's easy to completely erase someone's narrative.
How can I help you?
Hi, can I please be transferred to registration?
Sure, a moment.
Thanks.
Our office is currently closed.